So here is another question where we've been given the cubic and been given that one of the factors is x plus 1. And to speed things up, I have then put the first term, which of course is something times something gives me x cubed. And then the last term, which I found by going 1 times by negative 12 will give me negative 12. I need to focus, though, with this teaching on how to find that middle term. So let's go through what we have so far. We have x and we have 1, and both of those come from this bracket. And then in the other bracket, we have got x squared, and we've got negative 12. So we've got to use that information over there to find this negative 13x. Let's go over why I have to choose that and not the other things. So in a cubic, typically you would have 4 terms. And you'll see now that I've got negative 13x minus 12. The two middle terms still exist, except the one is negative, well, not negative, but it's 0x squared, which is why we don't write it there. So that means we have to work with this negative 13x. So that is the goal. We're trying to get an answer of negative 13x. Let me just put it over here. And remember, we're going to do that by finding the sum of two possible things. And those, well, the sum of two products, anyway. Back to the show. So I've got x. I'm definitely going to use both of those terms from the first bracket. Then I'm going to look at the terms from the other bracket, which was x squared and negative 12. Remember, I'm looking for anything that is x to the degree of 1 as the answer. So I'm going to play with it a little and just show you what works and doesn't. I'll start by doing x squared times by x. That gives me x cubed. Does it help? Not at all, because nothing is going to add up. No, well, x cubed added to nothing will give me an answer of x. So let's try the other number then, which is x times by negative 12, and that's going to give me negative 12x. And that's really nice because we know that negative 12x plus something is going to give me to negative 13x. Now at this point, if you are feeling confident, you would then go and say that I know I'm now looking for an answer that would be negative 1x, and so whatever 1 is multiplied by to get to negative 1x will then be the middle term. But just for argument's sake, I'm going to show you what might happen in a stressful situation, because sometimes we stop thinking during them. Okay, so I'm going to show you that if we multiplied 1 by x squared, we would get 1x squared. And does that help us to find negative 13x? It certainly doesn't, because it's not a like term. And then if we were to try negative 12 times by 1, it's going to give us negative 12. And that also doesn't help us, because it's not going to add to anything to give us negative 13x. So now we know that because we were able to make negative 12x by multiplying those two terms together, we've got to find negative 1x by multiplying 1 by something. And that something is then going to be our middle term, and of course 1 times by negative 1x will give me negative 1x, which is what I'm looking for, so I'm going to throw it in over there. But let's play with this a little bit more. Let's say that we chose to do, instead of the negative 13x, we chose to do this other term, which is, let me circle it, 0x squared. So we're going to see if the process still works, and I'm going to start by writing down the information I have, which is x, and I have 1, and then the terms in the other bracket are x squared and negative 12, and I've decided that I am going to try and get a total of 0x squared. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to find the product of two terms and then add those together and get an answer of 0x squared. So we know that we're definitely using the first two terms from the first bracket. Let's play with them a little, and once again, I'm just doing it all to show you what works and what doesn't, starting by multiplying x by x squared to see if it helps us. It doesn't, because we get an answer of x cubed. So let's get rid of that, and let's try the next number, which is going to be x times by negative 12, which gives me negative 12x. Previously, this did help. But remember, now I'm looking for a total of x squared. I'm not looking for an x. So that doesn't help either. which means I'm leaving it because whatever I can do at the bottom is going to then help me. I'll start by multiplying 1 by x squared, and once again I got it from over there, and that gives me 1x squared. So that does help me quite a lot, because I can now add something to 1x squared to get to 0x squared, and of course you know it's just going to be negative 1x squared. And how do I get to negative 1x squared? By multiplying x by something. That something is going to be, you guessed it, it's negative x. And there we go. We get to exactly the same place. We just use that invisible term.